Before we look ahead to Week 4 in the NFL, here's a look back at the top headlines from Week 3, including Patrick Mahomes outdueling Lamar Jackson in a match of former MVPs on Monday Night Football. Mahomes' first career game with 4 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. Meantime, Russell Wilson looking to win his first MVP, off to a historic start. Had 5 touchdown passes Sunday against Dallas. He has 14 touchdown passes this season, the most in NFL history through the first 3 weeks of the season. Time now to put some knowledge in your mind so you can put some money in your pocket. Welcome in 2 former NFL quarterbacks, former Heisman finalist Brady Quinn, former ACC Player of the Year Danny Cannell, and former 8th grade quarterback and CBS Sports HQ senior NFL analyst Pete Prisco. Let's start with the Thursday night game. Brett Rypien, the nephew of 2-time Super Bowl champion quarterback Mark Rypien, going to make his first NFL start as the Broncos face Sam Darnold and the Jets in a matchup of 0-3 teams. Denver's a 1-point favorite. The total is 40, which seems super low to me. Pete, how should we wager on this Thursday night game?
I think this is one of those games where a guy's starting his first game and it's going to show up. Look, Sam Darnold hasn't played well. The team hasn't played well. It's been a disaster so far. But I do think this is one of those games where they're going to respond. The Broncos are so banged up. They have so many injuries and, not having Von Miller on that defense. Now Jarrell Casey out for the season. This is a defense that's going to have problems even against Sam Darnold. So I think they do like Adam Gase. I mean, not everybody, but I think they do like Adam Gase. And with reports out there that Gase could be in trouble if they lose this game, I think they respond. I think they play well here. I think Darnold plays well. I'll take the Jets to win the game outright.
I'm on the other side of this one. I like the Denver Broncos, and I understand they're beat up. Pete mentioned Jarrell Casey being out for the season. To go amongst Cortland Sutton and Von Miller and Drew Lock, who's not going to be starting for this game. But here's the difference is they've at least been competitive so far this season in 2 of their 3 games, even though they're winless at this point. I haven't seen anything out of the New York Jets to make me think they've got any life in this matchup. So if you're a Denver Broncos fan, if you're looking for what they're going to do in this game, it's a heavy dose of the run, not put too much on Brett Rypien's shoulders, and then try to get Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, some of the other pieces within this offense going on the short week. The problem for Rypien's going to be Greg Williams' defensive scheme. He likes to mix up the looks. He likes to utilize different blitz packages, and they really have to because they can't get pressure just by rushing with their front. So I think this is going to be a low-scoring, close game, but I do think the Denver Broncos, who have been competitive, they do get Bryce Callahan, Kareem Jackson back in their secondary. They should be the team that wins this game.
I totally agree, Brady, with what the comment you just said. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I am not walking. I am running to the window and getting it as fast as I can on the under before it goes even lower. Keem said that 40 was low. I think you're going to see an atrocious display of football. I mean, let's be honest. These are 2 bad football teams. One, I do feel, has quit on their coach. Whether they like him or not, Adam Gase's players in New York are not responding to him. Sam Darnold had regressed. 2 pick sixes, 3 interceptions this past weekend. He looks like he's having a crisis of confidence. Vic Fangio said, Rypien's going to get the start, but we might see Jeff Driscoll too. I mean, that sounds like a great offensive game plan. Let's roll both quarterbacks in there and just see what works. This is going to be ugly offensive football. I think it's going to be low scoring, so I like the under.
I don't want to rain on your parade here, Danny, but the Jets have gone over in 9 of their last 11 games with a total of 40 or lower. So that'll be a sweat any way you play it. One of Pete's favorite quarterbacks is Josh Allen. He and the Bills are where we expect them to be atop the AFC East. Allen's recorded 3 straight 300-yard passing games to start the season, has Buffalo off to a 3-0 start once again. Bills are a 3-point road favorite against the Raiders. This would be the first time that Buffalo has been favored in their first 4 games of a season since 1991. We know how that ended. They got to the Super Bowl, but they didn't win it. The Raiders have covered 7 of the last 9 games as a home underdog. Brady, who do you like in this spot?
I like the Buffalo Bills. I think all they need to do is really go back and look at the tape from this past week, what the New England Patriots did to stymie Darren Waller's production. And there's the key to stopping this offensive attack for the Las Vegas Raiders. Only 2 catches for 9 yards. So I think you implement that same strategy. And I think the Bills also have a better defense, even though it didn't show out versus the LA Rams after they blew that 28-3 lead at one point in the game. So, there's some question marks. And I think there's some blemishes on the tape that the Bills are going to want to clean up. But bottom line is, I think this is overall a better football team, and they should be able to put up a lot of points and production versus the Raiders defense that I think has struggled mightily this year, is still kind of trying to find its way. So, look, it's chalk once again for me. I'll take the Bills, and I'll lay the 3 points.
I'm going to take the home dog here in the Raiders. I think this team is coming off one of their worst performances of the year, clearly. They had 6 penalties going into that game. They had 6 alone on Sunday. So I think it was their worst performance. You had 2 strip sacks from Derek Carr. You had a couple, Josh Jacobs putting the ball on the ground, a ton of penalties. It was ugly. I think they come home. They clean that up. The Bills will have to travel out to Las Vegas. I think that's always a challenge. The Bills are good. I don't love this one, but I would take the Raiders here getting 3 at home.
All right, Pete, so break the tie here. Which former quarterback in this segment is more accurate with his pick?
Well, I'll be honest with you. When I first sent this pick in, I was going to take the Bills, and I switched up. I'm taking the Raiders and the points because I think it's going to be really close. I think the Bills will win the game maybe by a point, too. But if you're going to give me 3 points at home, I'm going to take it. Remember, this is a team that lost last week. Usually those guys are pretty good in responding, coming back home against a team traveling all the way out there. So I love what the Bills have done. I think they're great. I think they'll win the game to get to 4-0, but I think it's going to be tight. I'll take the field goal.
All right, we've got another big game in the 4 p.m. Eastern window on Sunday. Patrick Mahomes, the Chiefs, 7-point home favorites against Cam Newton and the Patriots. And at this point, how would you bet against Mahomes, especially if they're giving you points like they did on Monday night? Pete, are you confident in laying 7 points with KC?
I mean, I hate to do it because, the Patriots are a darn good team. But, yeah, I'm confident doing it. And the reason I am is because, look, Belichick wants to take away one of your things. He wants to take away Kelsey. He wants to take away Hill. I think you try and take away Kelsey. And if that's the case, they got so many other options. And they're so creative. I love what they do on offense. And Patrick Mahomes can make all the throws. And the Patriots, quite frankly, don't rush the passer that well. We saw what happened when they went to Seattle a couple weeks ago, and Seattle threw all over them. Russell Wilson lit them up. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to light them up. I hate laying 7 against the Patriots, but in this scenario, I'm going to do it.
There's a golden rule, and I guess I'm going to break it. It's don't bet against Bill Belichick, especially when you look at a spread this big. However, I think that's trumped by the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes being on the other side of this one. When you look at this offense, as Pete talked about, too many options to try to stop. And now the way their offensive line's playing, along with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, it takes pressure off of Patrick Mahomes, who so far had a stellar season. And I think the difference for me, too, is I think this defense, actually, if you look at what they did this past week, they were able to get pressure on opposing quarterbacks. They're able to get some of those negative plays to only keep some of the opponents down. So I know it's a bit of a short week for them, but I'm willing to lay the 7 points just because I feel like when this team wants to put their foot on the gas, they are tough to stop. And I have a hard time believing that the Patriots defense is going to be able to get pressure on Mahomes, and these wide receivers and pass catchers aren't going to be running around all over wide open.
I'm with you. I'm with you guys. I'm laying the 7. I'm taking that and just saying, all right, this is the best team in football. We saw essentially a blowout last night. It's hard to beat a team that's that good in their building the way the Chiefs did last night, and yet you saw some of the offensive innovation on display. Andy Reid playing with the best quarterback in the game right now with maybe the best arsenal of weapons to work with in the game. The only thing that makes me nervous, and this is an opportunity for Cam Newton to take advantage and to put this game on his shoulders, which I do think he's capable of doing if he's healthy, is to control that time of possession, to grind it out, to give him 15 carries, maybe 17 carries, and just keep the ball away from the Chiefs. But even with that being said, I think as many times the Chiefs touch the ball, they're probably going to score. And I think the 72 Dolphins had better be ready to maybe put that champagne on ice forever where it goes away. I'm telling you, this team is that good. I think an undefeated season is in play, especially if you look at their schedule. They're probably going to be favored by a touchdown or more the remainder of the season. They're that good, and I think that is still on the table, an undefeated run for the Chiefs.
All right, all 3 experts back in Kansas City in this one, laying 7 with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. Monday night game features Aaron Rodgers and the Packers hosting Matt Ryan and the Falcons. Atlanta blew a 16-point fourth-quarter lead to the Bears this past Sunday, making the Falcons the first team in NFL history to lose back-to-back games despite leading by 15 or more in the fourth quarter in both games. Green Bay a 7.5-point favorite in this one, hoping to have Devontae Adams back on the field. Packers, though, were able to take care of the Saints without him. Aaron Rodgers has thrown 9 touchdowns this season, has yet to throw an interception. Pete, did the Packers keep on rolling and cover the spread here?
By the way, Danny predicting the Chiefs to go undefeated is interesting a week after they almost lost against the Chargers. I mean, my gosh, Danny, you forgot about that one already?
No, they won. They got 58-yard field goals, all it took. That's it.
Oh my gosh.
That's what woke him up. That was the wake-up call.
I think this Packers team. Okay, all right. I'm okay. Hey, look, I'm with you. I think they're a dynamic team, but they're going to lose or stumble somewhere along the way. When it comes to the Packers, look, you know how I feel about this. You know how I felt about them before the season. I think Rodgers is phenomenal. I think he's much more comfortable in the offense this time around. I still worry about the defense, and I think this is going to be a lot of points. But I think in the end, I think Rodgers and that offense will score enough against a bad Falcons defense. You saw what Nick Foles did to him. If Nick Foles can carve you up like that, Aaron Rodgers can do it even worse. I'll take the Packers and lay the points.
Why are you throwing shade at Nick Foles, man? The guy's a Super Bowl MVP. Pete, come on. The guy's incredible. All right, I'm with you, except I'm going to take the Falcons. That 7 and a hook is the key there. Green Bay is clearly cream of the crop in the NFC. I think it's them in Seattle right now vying for that top spot. The Falcons are good offensively, 6th in scoring the NFL, going total with the #1 scoring offense in Green Bay. I think they can hang around. They've been hanging around in most of their games and should have won a couple of them. I do think they can keep this to a fourth quarter game. Ultimately, Green Bay wins, but 7.5 just a little bit too steep. My initial reaction, too, is take the over with all this offensive firepower, but 58 is just a little bit too rich for me. So I'm going to take the Falcons with the points.
I'm going to be on the other side of this one, Danny. I'm sorry. But, yeah, the hook bothers me a little bit, but I think it's enough that the Green Bay Packers will be able to cover in this case. And why? Well, if you look at how Atlanta has lost a couple of those close contests, it's because they don't know how to play with a lead. They tend to get away from the rushing attack, and that's one of the weaknesses, I think, as Pete had kind of pointed out in the Green Bay Packers defense. A lot of nickel and dime packages. Sometimes they're soft on the edge and allows you to get some of those off tackle or runs to the outside. This is not going to be a problem for the Packers defense, though, if Atlanta doesn't even elect to run the football. So for me, I think with the way this Packers team is operating, and we're talking a lot about Aaron Rodgers, the passing game. Yeah, it'd be great if they get Adams back, but what about the rushing attack? What about Aaron Jones, the way this offensive line is playing right now? I think they'll be able to control the game just because I'm concerned about this Atlanta Falcons defense being able to stop either one, either the run or the pass versus the Packers. And obviously the ability for Atlanta to stay in this game, I think will be tough if they're going to try to drop back and throw it around all day. So look, chalk for me today. I'm going to take the Packers and lay the points.
Packers have scored 35-plus points in each of their first 3 games, their longest such streak in franchise history. All right, as for the game we should get right now before the line moves, Brady, I'll start with you. What stands out to you?
Well, the one that I'm looking at, and Hakeem, I know you're not going to like this one, but it's the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm going to lay the 4.5 points on this one. I just think I'm looking at the Browns defense. It's too suspect to me. Offense has been inconsistent to me, and even if you look at the one opponent that they played that's actually decent or I think talented enough, similar to the Dallas Cowboys, it would be the Ravens, and they weren't even competitive in that matchup. So I like the Dallas Cowboys laying 4.5 points. I think that's a pretty solid bet for a team that's 1-2. And you can make a case that, maybe they should or shouldn't be, but this is a good football team. I think they start to get things back on track. And for the Browns, it's been a long time since they had a winning record. Unfortunately, I think they dropped to 500.
I'm going to go ahead and take the Seattle Seahawks traveling on the road to Miami. It's 6.5 right now. I want to get it before it moves up to 7. The Seattle Seahawks are clearly in a different stratosphere than the Miami Dolphins right now. The only thing that concerns me is the dreaded 1 p.m. East Coast kickoff time for Seattle coming from the West Coast to East Coast. But you're talking about a prolific offense. Russell Wilson playing the game as good as anybody in the league right now. And I'm just looking at the Miami Dolphins. Even though coming off a nice win against Jacksonville last Thursday night, getting a couple extra days of preparation, I'm still looking at them at this point. I'm starting to get on the Pete Prisco. Let's see Tua Tagovailoa start to play. Ryan Fitzpatrick does give him the best chance to win, but this team should be looking towards the future, including this Sunday versus the Seahawks. But I think the Seahawks are easily a touchdown better or more than in this game.
All right, Pete, what's the bet we should make right now?
You guys have heard of Texas Pete hot sauce, right? Well, I'm Florida Pete hot sauce. I'm so hot with my picks. 13-3 with my best bets on the Pick 6 podcast. I'm on fire. 29-18-1. Don't I sound like a tout? My best bet isn't one. It's the board. Take the over in every single game. The defenses in the National Football League are awful. They can't stop anybody. Take the over in every single game, and I guarantee you're going to be a happy man. I'm
going to back you up here, Florida Pete hot sauce, to a trend here. Overs are hitting at a 60% clip through week 3, the highest over percentage since 1990. Brady, get the last word in here.
No, I love it, and here's why. It's because there's no more home field advantage. You see teams going on the road. For example, Green Bay, New Orleans this past week. Aaron Rodgers is using a hard count to his advantage. It nullifies the pass rush. So you're seeing offenses be able to communicate clearly. It's nullified that home field advantage for the defense not having fans or stadiums at full capacity. So, Pete, I love it. I think it's, poor tackling, some of that, but it's also this lack of a pass rush when you look at no fans in the stands to help, bear down on that offensive line, trying to hear the communication and getting a jump on the snap of the football.
I was texting with a defensive back today, and he said it's unreal how unfair it is with no crowds for the defenses. He says it's amazing with the hard count, and guys are so reluctant to jump. He said it's unfair right now for defenses, and plus the tackling stinks. Over, and over again.
Even the over on Thursday, like Danny, Danny wants to take that under 40.
I'm taking it.
Don't take the under. I know normally you would take the under.
The trend. I just want somebody to put a picture of Pete Prisco on a Texas Pete hot sauce and put it on there. I need a meme of that right now.
Yeah, I like that. Danny, by the way, you need to get him on the Cover 3 podcast because Pete Prisco is spraying the board. I mean, he's hitting everything.
That's right. I love it. Don't hold back.
Pete, Brady, Danny, great stuff. Appreciate it. Let's recap their picks for Week 4 in the NFL, the big-time games here. The Thursday nighter, Pete likes the Jets. Danny likes the under 40 there. Brady likes Denver there. Buffalo, Pete and Danny both siding with the Raiders taking the points there. Brady says, no, take Buffalo, lay the 3. All on the side of the Chiefs laying 7. And Pete and Brady both like Green Bay. Danny says, no, take the 7.5 points. He likes the hook there. Get it while it's hot. Dallas minus 4.5 for Brady against the Cowboys. Danny, Seattle minus 6.5 against the Dolphins. And Pete, Florida Pete hot sauce. Take every over in Week 4.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.